Elizabeth Van Lew of Richmond, although from an old Virginia family, was an ardent Unionist who refused to leave town even as the Confederate government took up residence. Her continued devotion to the Union cause was considered just another of the eccentricities of the woman her neighbors came to call Crazy Bet. Van Lew began to accentuate her eccentricities. As she walked along the street, she mumbled and hummed to herself, head bent to one side, holding imaginary conversations. Her disguise served her well as she set up a wide-reaching spy ring within the Confederate capital, and some say within the Confederate White House itself. Van Lew began visiting Richmond's Libby prison, where Union POWs were imprisoned. As a humanitarian gesture, Van Lew brought food, medicine, and books to the prisoners. She came out with military information. Newly arrived Union prisoners secretly recounted the strength and dispositions of Confederate troops they had seen on their way from the front to Richmond. As the war progressed, Van Lew was able to place fellow Union sympathizers within the Confederate War and Navy departments, and regularly smuggled messages out of Richmond in hollow eggs. General Grant would later say of her efforts, "You have sent me the most valuable information received from Richmond during the war." Van Lew's most daring accomplishment remains shrouded in mystery and involved insinuating one of her former servants, Mary Elizabeth Bowser, also known as Mary Jane Richards, into the Confederate White House. Bowser had been a slave of the Van Lew family, but Van Lew freed her and sent her north to be educated many years before the war. When Van Lew established her spy ring, she asked Bowser to return and work with her for the Union. Van Lew obtained a position for Bowser as a servant in the Confederate White House through the recommendation of a friend, who provided supplies to that household. Bowser pretended to be a bit dull and unconcerned, but listened to and memorized conversations between Jefferson Davis and his visitors, and the content of documents she was able to read while working in the House. Another Union spy, Thomas McNiven, noted that Bowser had a photographic memory and could report every word of the documents she saw. Jefferson Davis knew the Union somehow kept discovering Confederate plans but never discovered the leak in his own household. Called the White House, the executive mansion was rented from the city of Richmond by the Confederate government to serve as the residence of President Jefferson Davis and his family. The White House of the Confederacy is located at Clay and 12th Streets. Jefferson Davis, his wife Varina, and their 3 small children moved into the White House in August, 1861. Security was lax by modern standards. When the Union Army captured Richmond in April 1865, Elizabeth Van Lew was the first person to raise the U.S. flag in the city. After the war she insisted, "I'm not a Yankee," maintaining that she was only a good Southerner, holding to an old Virginia tradition of opposition to human bondage. After the fall of Richmond, President Lincoln and his son Tad went to view the ruined city. Lincoln went to the Confederate White House, went to the second floor, and triumphantly sat at Jefferson Davis's desk. Thousands of former slaves assembled outside to catch a glimpse of Lincoln. According to U.S. Army intelligence sources, specific details of Ms. Bowser's activities and precise knowledge of the information passed to General Grant are unknown. In the interest of their protection, all records of Ms. Van Lew and her agents were destroyed after the war. Mary Elizabeth Bowser was inducted into the U.S. Army Intelligence Hall of Fame at Fort Huachuca, Arizona, on 30 June 1995.